Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for not wanting to babysit the kids of a single mom? Title instantly makes me come across as an asshole. But hear me out. I, 14F, just finished 2 weeks of exams, all between 1-2 hours. And today I had my final exam. I was expecting to rest up and catch up on sleep today, but my mom casually told me 2 days ago that I was expected to babysit her friend's kids today, as their mom. My mom and a few other friends were planning on having a girls' night out. I was pretty pissed because it was kind of inconsiderate of her to spring this on me just as I'd finished my exams. But I didn't have a choice. She then later told me I was expected to babysit from 3:45 p.m. to around 11:30 p.m. So around 8 hours. She expected me to keep them occupied, watch over them, and make them dinner. We have a nice housekeeper, but she's been ill lately, so she can't take care of them. I was angry about the fact that I basically have to care for 4 kids, her friend's kids and my 2 brothers, my older one being autistic and low functioning. But my mom said that I had to be considerate because the kids lack a father figure and their mom hardly ever gets to go out as a result. I sympathize with that, but this has happened before, and the single mom's sister lives close by, so I'm not sure why she can't just leave them there. Even my dad is a little annoyed and has tried explaining to my mom that I've just finished 2 intense weeks of exams and want some space alone time, but she won't listen because she can't change the date. And if anyone was wondering, my dad will be at home, but he said that he's most likely going to go out with his friends or he's just going to stay in his room. So am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. NTA and I would demand payment if you are forced to do it. Payment in advance. The fact the kids lack a father figure is not your fault and that should not be put on a child. I actually do not think it wise for them to leave 4 children with a 14-year-old, especially for 8 hours or more. I wouldn't want to keep 4 kids by myself. That is asking a lot. Payment in advance at the national average going rate, $20/HR41, increasing about $1.50 for each kid. Just shy of $200 is wholly fair for girls' night. Last minute expediency stupidity charge. Actually, the title does the exact opposite of making you sound like an asshole. No one is entitled to babysitting services from someone. There are plenty of teenagers out there that want to babysit for money and will happily do it. She can plan ahead and hire one of those. NTA. I'm a mom of teens and I would never offer up my kids as babysitters. And if you're babysitting, you should be compensated. At the very least, I'd ask how much you'll be paid. Also, the fact that your dad will be home, pays lip service to agreeing with you, then announces he'll just dip out into his room is super messed up. It's like he's trying to be the good guy, but if he actually was he'd be babysitting instead of you. I'm sorry, Opus. Am I the antagonist for telling my husband he has it easy? I'm 7 months pregnant. It has been very difficult for me with all the medical stuff and chronic pain I'm constantly dealing with. My husband gets annoyed every time I bring up how much pain I feel. It's not like I complain constantly, but it has slowed me down, which made my husband think I'm looking for excuses to not get anything done. Yesterday morning I woke up with terrible back pain. After I vented about it and expressed my discomfort, he snapped at me and told me that I was acting like a spoiled princess and that I'm a mother. I should start acting like one. I snapped back saying that he doesn't get to dictate how I should feel and deal with what I'm dealing with because he has no idea what it's like. He was like, yeah, but we are in this together. I put the baby in there, remember? I told him yes, but he's not the one doing the work, so he has it easy. He looked at me shocked and went quiet for a minute. He then said, aha, how typical. Trying to use the I'm the mom card against me already. How much leverage are you planning to get with that? Which hurt because he made me feel like I'm milking it. We argued about it, then he left and refused to respond to my phone calls all day. In the evening he got distant and ignored me when I tried to speak to him, and then said that telling him he has it easy was way out of line and an awful attempt to discredit his efforts and sacrifices, but all he does is provide. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. Who's not the guy you wanna raise a kid with? Not the a-hole. He's a giant eater. I just read your reasoning. What are his efforts so far? Having an orgasm, so he gets to feel good and coast for 9 months, while your body goes through hell. That is not on. Pregnancy sucks. And if a guy doesn't want to be supportive during the entire 9 months, he has no business impregnating anybody. I fear for what Op will have to deal with during L&D and after the baby is born. But, in comparison to you, he does have it easy. I mean the swelling, the nausea, the aches, the peeing, the tiredness, the cravings, the bad sleep, the blood tests, the change of diet, the clothes not fitting, the doctor's appointments, the list goes on. He really cannot compare ejaculation to pregnancy. Not the a-hole. Exactly. All the biological stuff I pointed out that he wouldn't even understand despite witnessing me in pain constantly. Am I the antagonist for asking my best friend to stop treating me as his wife? I, 19F, met my best friend Luckian, 19 male, at HS. I really liked him at 16, and when I confessed he said he was gay. I accepted it and moved on. But since we really got along together, we stayed friends. Fast forward to some time. We got into the same college. We do everything together and even have the same friend group. He starts referring to me as the missus and the wife. Later on he becomes jealous of any guy I'm with. And the most recent incident happened when a mutual friend asked me in front of Luckian if I still liked Luckian. I said no. It was 3 years ago. I moved on. Luckian became awfully quiet and said, well yes of course like everyone. TBH. It felt weird. But I didn't say anything at the moment until another friend later on mentioned to me that she was surprised we weren't dating. Most of our friends know he is gay, but those who don't assume we were together because of comments such as I can't you know, the missus won't let me, or you should talk about this with the wife. At first it was funny because he was, gay, but now people who I'm interested in won't date me because they think I'm trying to cheat on Luckian. So I told him about this and he blew up and said that he was flattered I still thought we could be together, but he wasn't interested. He, later on, insisted that I was making too many conjectures and stuff, at which I simply said stop saying I'm your wife you fucking moron. Some friends think that I'm overreacting, and most of them simply think that he should respect that I don't want to be associated with him romantically. Now for the top comments. NTA but either he's 1. Closeted b/pan rather than gay and doesn't realize it or is in serious denial. 2. Liked keeping you around for the ego boost of being attracted to him at one point and you actively dating messes with this. Neither of these is your problem to deal with. They're on him. Put your foot down. Tell him you're going to have to get some distance until he figures his shit out or can adhere to your boundaries, whichever comes first. That first one was my first thought. It can be scary to realize your sexuality isn't what you thought, even if you thought you were gay and are realizing you may not be. My guess is that he's developed feelings for Op and doesn't want to seem wishy-washy, something queer folks get hit with all the time anyway. So he doubles down on saying he's gay. All this is to say, Op, you are absolutely not the a-hole. Whether he's struggling with his sexuality or not is not your problem. Edited. Formatting. Luckian seems to using you as his beard, so he can act at being hetero when he feels like it. Put a stop to it. Am I the antagonist for saying my brother is married to our precious mom to his girlfriend? I really don't think I was an asshole, but even my dad said I fucked up, so I had the need to write this to here. We are 4 brothers. I'm the biggest, 38 male. Then there is K, 32 male, F, 29 male, and our smallest J, 25 male, who has been a surprise egg. J is the one I'm talking about. Our mom is 62 years old and our dad is 64. When I was 15, my mom and my dad got a divorce. They were a terrible couple since I remember. I stayed with my dad permanently while my brothers moved to my mom's hometown with my mom. I was studying in a private high school, so I didn't move. Also, I love my dad more. He is a much more stable and relaxed guy to live with. My dad always made an effort to see my brothers, and he would go to my mom's hometown by plane weekly, even if he was post night shift. He is a surgeon. One by one, K and F started to move in with us because of education and mostly due to my mom being paranoid and controlling. Except J. J was always mama's boy. When I would go to my mom's house, he would never leave his side, and after he turned 18, he rejected one of the best university offers in our country to stay with mom and went to vocational school. Then he started to take care of our mom full time, even though she didn't need. They are currently like a married couple, and my mom never really lets his leash. If he is traveling somewhere for work, our mom comes with him and stays in a nearby hotel. She maybe calls us once a month, and when she calls, it is mostly about how Jay being a devoted son and we being assholes who doesn't give her any attention. We jokingly say they are a married couple and we are the side chicks. 5 months ago, Jay called us out of the blue and said he was in our town and he brought his girlfriend to meet with us. We were pleasantly surprised, and when we met her, she was a really sweet girl. She was always very warm with my dad and my brothers, but when we talked, it was always in a formal situation. She would always call me Mr. Surname, contrary to my dad and my brothers. It was weird, but I thought she was raised in a hierarchical household, so I let it go. A week ago, she called me and said she wanted to meet me. I said sure, and when we met up, she asked how could I leave my mom in an instance and abandon my siblings. How could I not care about my brother and why I basically betrayed my family. I started to laugh. I told her everything from the divorce to now and said my brother will always have mom first. You should get used to that. Then I asked her their future plans and she realized it always involved mom. She was flabbergasted, said thanks and left the table. 2 days later Jay got front of my door drunk and yelled, "You made us broke apart. Mom was right, you are nothing but a homewrecker. I hate you and I hope you die alone." I called the cops and he spent a night inside the detention. Now all of my family thinks I wrecked his life. I think it was a long needed wake up call. So, am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. NTA, you just pointed out something she should have already seen. Also, it's weird that his girlfriend tried to confront you about family drama from years ago. Mom and Jay were probably selling the story that Jay had to do what he does because Jay is all she has left and everyone else cruelly abandoned her. She was probably trying to navigate their future and test out why, if mom needs help, the other brothers aren't involved. Other brothers getting involved would decrease the load for Jay and for her if she stuck around. At first I thought that it wasn't your story to tell and that you should have let her work it out on her own. But then, thinking about the absolute bullshit she came out with about you abandoning them all just got me to see how very toxic and incestual this whole situation is. So, on balance, I think you probably saved her from a fate worse than death. NTA. My thing is the brother was a baby. He probably grew up being told that stuff about op and having to wonder why he wasn't good enough for his siblings to stay. The only real villain here is a mom. Am I the antagonist for telling my stepchildren that their paternity isn't my fault? I have 4 children, 2 biological and 2 stepchildren from my husband's one street marriage. I consider all of them to be my kids. But for clarity, I have to differentiate. When my stepchildren were 12 and 13, it came out that they were not biologically my husband's. It was very dramatic and rocked the entire family. There was a minute where they were suspicious of me as well. But since I had insisted on testing my biological children at birth due to issues from my own childhood, this was over before it began. My husband and I continued raising all 4 children until he passed away 2 years ago. His father just died 6 months ago. The kids are 17, 16, 10, and 9. In his will, his father decided to only leave money to his biological grandchildren. This money is to be held in trust, so even I can't access it. It's not millions, but is easily enough to pay for each grandkid to go to college and put a down payment on a house. My stepkids viewed him as their grandfather, so they are furious about this. But on a practical level, they need money for college and now don't have it. They've been blaming me and hounding me to fix this. I can't and won't. The will is airtight. The money is in trusts that I don't have legal access to. Just to try to do anything would involve, technically, suing minor children, just to harass my sister-in-law and the legal firm into trying to invalidate a valid will, which would be cruel and pointless. I agree that it's unfair, yes, but it's also not my fault. Their mother is the reason why they are not in the will, not me. I'm not going to pretend to know why she did it, and I don't have any personal feelings about her. She's always been a devoted mother to her kids, which is the only thing I cared about. The rest of her private life is her own business, and this is ultimately her responsibility. I told them to take it up with her, and now they're even angrier that I'm talking bad about their mother and are blasting me to everyone that will hear that I've always played favorites. Not true, and that I'm not doing anything because I got what I always wanted. Doubly not true. I don't want to lose them or cause more pain over something that I had no part in. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. Info. Why would they blame you for their dad not being their BO dad? That makes zero sense. NTA. It's sad if they viewed him as a grandfather too, but it's 100% not your fault. NTA. This is a horrible, no-win situation for you and your stepchildren. Short of hiring someone to literally raise the grandfather from the dead so as to reason with him, there's literally nothing you can do. Are there already college funds set aside for the older two by you/husband and their mother? One should not count on someone dying in order to pay university tuition. The grandfather is definitely tar here. How incredibly hurtful. Am I the antagonist for refusing to do more than the rest of my family? Throw away for obvious reasons. I, 30SF, have a small family of 3. It's just me, my husband Dustin, 30SM, and our son Danny, early teens male. Dustin and Danny are slobs for a lack of better words. It usually takes me 4 hours a day after work to get the house straight and back up. Laundry, dishes and dinner done. I'm sick of it. I do this daily with not a damn bit of help. I've talked to them, begged them, set chore charts, yelled, hid electronics, hid the Wi-Fi router, tried grounding, and not a single thing gets through to them. I'm exhausted and quite frankly, fed up. A week ago, I started refusing to do more than they do on anything. They want a clean space. They better clean it. They want clean clothes. They can wash them. They want food. They can cook it. Neither noticed until yesterday when neither had clean clothes and you could barely walk through the house. Honestly, I'm completely disgusted, and I've almost given in. Especially during the fight yesterday. Danny was throwing a fit that he couldn't find something, and Dustin lost it on me calling me an awful wife and mother. Dustin yelled that I didn't have to take it this far, and I should have just talked to them. I yelled back that I had. That I've tried so many different ways to get them to pitch in and nothing works, so I'm done. I'm not doing anything that they won't. Dustin took Danny and went to his mother saying he wouldn't be back now the house was clean, and if it wasn't clean in a few days, he was calling CPS and divorcing me. I told him to have fun being his mother's problem. I now have my mother-in-law calling me saying this wasn't a healthy environment for Danny, and I was a B word. Danny came back home today and started cleaning the moment he walked in the door and crying that he didn't want us to get divorced. But Dustin is refusing to talk to me and has his mom constantly calling to chew me out. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. Girl, I hate to say it, but I would leave his ass. He ran to his mommy. WTF. He is a grown ass man, and instead of helping you, he threatened you with CPS and a divorce. I would tell his ass to stay with his mother. Seems like maybe your son is learning. That's awesome. Don't let up. He needs to be a better man than his father is. He will most likely be a husband someday, and he hopefully won't act the way your husband did. AITA, typus. NTA. And don't give in. Also, you don't have a husband. You have 2 children in desperate need of some tough love. I would suggest going to stay with family/friends and let them fend for themselves. AITA, let him call CPS. I would love to see him explain why his grown ass can't pick up after himself, make food or operate a laundry machine. He left the house with your kid for days and threatened divorce rather than pick up the house a little. Wow, that is one committed patriarch right there. That isn't going to get better, and I'm surprised you've lasted this long. Take the divorce if that's what he'd rather, and good riddance. Hopefully Danny can taught to understand how and why to be better than his father. NTA.